In the vibrant village of Ayutoro, no man walked with more swagger, dressed with more flair, or charmed with more ease than Bode. When Bode entered the marketplace, people didn't just glance, they stared. And not just because of his finely embroidered agbada, which seemed to glide as he moved, or his neatly trimmed beard that caught the sun's glint. It was the aura, the magnetic energy that rippled through the air when he flashed his perfect devil-may-care smile. Bode wasn't just handsome. Handsome men were common. Bode was dangerously charming. A man whose words could wrap around you like a vine, pulling you closer until you had no choice but to fall. The older women in the village whispered about him, some in awe, others in warning. That one is a Yoruba demon, Mama Tola would say, her lips pursed in both disapproval and grudging admiration. His smile can melt stone, and his words are sweeter than fresh palm wine. Beware, or you'll find yourself enchanted before you even realize. Bode had earned the nickname Yoruba Demon for a good reason. He could speak to 3 women in the marketplace and leave them all convinced they were his one and only. And the best part, he didn't need to lie. He just knew how to craft his words, how to lace every sentence with flattery, and just enough sincerity to make anyone believe they were special. I don't chase women, but they liked to boast, his eyes gleaming with mischief. They come to me. After all, how can you resist a smile like mine? To this, his friends would howl in laughter, and Bode would tip his agbada like a king who had just entertained his court. But beneath all the charms, smiles, and smooth talk, there was a scheme brewing in Bode's mind, one that even his closest friends didn't know about. He wasn't satisfied with just one woman's adoration. No. Bode believed he deserved more, much more, and so he devised a plan to solidify his reputation and satisfy his boundless arrogance. Bode's plan was simple, or so he thought. Marry 2 women, one on Saturday, the other on Sunday, and live as the king of 2 villages. Each bride would be tucked away in her respective village, each believing she was the only one. And Bode, in his arrogance, believed he could keep up the charade forever. His first bride was Kemi, daughter of the Baale of Ayutoro. Kemi wasn't like other women. She was known for her fiery temper and sharp tongue, traits that had scared off many would-be suitors. But Bode saw her as a challenge, a fierce lioness he could tame. She's the Baale's daughter. Bode mused to himself, with Kemi as my wife, I'll have power and status in Ayutoro. No one would dare cross me. But Kemi was only part of his grand scheme. In the neighboring village of Ajadi, there was Ronke, a soft-spoken fruit seller who had captured Bode's eye with her gentle demeanor and radiant smile. Ronke was the opposite of Kemi in every way, sweet, innocent, trusting. To Bode, she was like a quiet stream, calm and soothing. She would make the perfect second wife, with Kemi's fire and Ronke's sweetness. Bode thought, I'll have the best of both worlds. Why settle for one when I can have 2? In both Ayutoro and Ajadi, there was a long-standing custom, no prolonged courtship. The elders believed that love should not linger in uncertainty, and as such, men were expected to approach a woman only when they were serious about marriage. Courtships were brief, and marriage discussions began from the very start. If a man delayed too long without offering bride price, he faced public shame or a fine by the village council. This custom meant relationships either quickly led to marriage or ended abruptly. So, when Bode proposed to both Kemi and Ronke, neither found it strange. In their villages, a quick proposal was the norm, and once a man's intentions were clear, a wedding usually followed soon after. Bode, ever the clever Yoruba demon, knew this well and used it to his advantage, moving swiftly with his plan before either woman could suspect a thing. Believing himself untouchable, Bode set his plan in motion. First, he approached Kemi's father, the Baale, offering the customary bride price and making grand promises of loyalty. The Baale, aware of his daughter's strong-willed nature, agreed to the match, secretly hoping Kemi would keep Bode in check. The wedding was scheduled for 2 Saturdays from that day. Kemi sat in front of a mirror, gently weaving a string of cowries into her thick, neatly braided hair. She wasn't the kind of woman who spent much time admiring her reflection, but today was different. Today, she allowed herself to feel something she hadn't expected: excitement. Our wedding was just a few days away, and not just any wedding, a wedding to Bode, the most sought-after man in Ayetoro. Her friends, Titi and Sade, sat nearby, chattering as they sorted through the fabrics that would be used for the bridal outfits. "Kemi, I still can't believe it," Titi squealed, eyes wide with envy. "Of all the women in Ayetoro, you are the one marrying Bode. The man every woman wants, but no one can catch. He's so handsome, and that smile. You've really won the lottery." Kemi smirked. Titi was right, and part of her relished the fact. She wasn't one to be impressed by men or their charms, but Bode had something different. It wasn't just his looks, it was the challenge he presented. Most men in the village tiptoed around her, too scared of her sharp tongue or her father's position as the Baale. They saw her as intimidating, unapproachable. But not Bode. He had swept in with all his confidence, his smooth words, and his unshakable charm. He didn't shy away from her fearing nature. He seemed to enjoy it. He was bold enough to face her and confident enough to ask for her hand in marriage. And that, to Kemi, was a victory. "I wasn't trying to catch him, Titi," Kemi replied, with a knowing smile. "Bode knew what he was doing when he came to me. He's not like the other men, afraid of a strong woman. He knows I'm not someone to be tamed." She admired the gleam in her eyes as she stared into the mirror. "I'll keep him in line, don't worry." Sade, who had been quiet until now, sighed dreamily. "You're lucky, Kemi. I wish I had half your confidence. I would be terrified to marry someone like Bode. He has too many admirers." Kemi raised an eyebrow. "Exactly why I have to be the one to marry him. He needs someone who won't be easily impressed by his sweet talk or fooled by his charm. I'll be the one to tame the Yoruba demon." The thought of controlling a man as wild as Bode filled Kemi with satisfaction. She wasn't some soft woman who would be swayed by his looks or promises. No, she would be the one woman Bode couldn't deceive or play. He would have his loyalty, and the village would see her power, not just as the Baale's daughter, but as the woman who captured Ayetoro's most charming rogue. As her friends continued to gossip about Bode, Kemi smiled to herself. Let them talk. Let them envy her. Soon enough, she would walk down the aisle and claim her prize. Bode may think it's the Yoruba demon, but in the end, it would be her victory. But Bode wasn't done. The very next day, he journeyed to Ajadi, his agbada flowing as he made his way to Ronke's fruit stall, his eyes sparkling with purpose. He had saved the sweetest words for her, knowing that her gentle nature was like ripe fruit, just waiting to be picked. When he saw her, Bode approached slowly, his voice low and rich like honey. "Ronke," he began, his smile soft but magnetic. "Whenever I see you, it feels like the sun is a little brighter and the world a little softer. You are my peace, my joy, the light that guides me." Ronke's heart fluttered, her cheeks flushing as she listened. "I can't imagine my life without you by my side," he continued, taking her hand in his with a touch so gentle. It felt like a promise. "Let's make it forever, Ronke. 2 Sundays from now, after market day, we'll marry. I want the world to know you are mine and I am yours. His words flowed like a well-rehearsed melody, and Ronke, swept away by the sincerity in his voice and the warmth in his gaze, felt as though she was living a dream. She smiled shyly and nodded. Yes, Bode, I will marry you. In Ajadi village, Ronke sat on a low stool in her mother's yard, carefully peeling oranges while humming a soft tune. Her heart was light, and the smile on her face seemed impossible to wipe away. She was getting married. Married to Bode, the man who had captured her heart with his easy laughter, kind eyes, and promises of a life full of love and happiness. She had always admired Bode from afar. Everyone did. He was handsome, of course, but it was the way he carried himself that made her heart flutter. He had this air of confidence, like he knew exactly what to say to make her feel special, like she was the only woman in the world. And when he had come to her with that radiant smile, proposing marriage, Ronke couldn't believe her luck. Ronke, my daughter, her mother said from behind her, you are smiling more these days. I haven't seen you this happy in a long time. Ronke giggled, her cheeks warming. I'm just so excited, Mama. Can you believe it? But they chose me. Out of all the women in Ayetoro and Ajadi, he wants me to be his wife. Her mother chuckled softly. Bode has always been a charmer. But I hope you know what you are getting into, Ronke. That man has many admirers. I know, Mama, Ronke replied, her voice soft but sure. But I'm not worried. He's always so sweet to me. He says I'm his joy, his light. He promised to take care of me forever. Her mother smiled at her daughter's innocence. Well, as long as you are happy. But remember, a good marriage takes more than sweet words. Ronke nodded. Though in her heart, she didn't need a reminder. She trusted Bode completely. She had seen how kind he could be, how he always greeted her with a smile, and made time for her, even when he was busy. Unlike the other men who came to her stall with empty flirtations, Bode had been more sincere. When he asked her to marry him, she felt like she was living in a dream. As she arranged the fruits into neat piles, her friends, Yewande and Bola, appeared at the gate, waving excitedly. Ronke, is it true? Yewande asked, her eyes wide with excitement. You're getting married to Bode? Ronke blushed, wiping her hands on her apron as she stood to meet them. Yes, it's true. We are getting married on Sunday, after market day. Bola squealed, clapping her hands together. Ronke, you are so lucky. Every girl in the village wants Bode, but he chose you. Ronke smiled shyly, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. I don't know why he chose me, but I'm so happy he did. He's so kind, and it makes me feel special. I'm the luckiest woman in Ayetoro. Yewande sighed dramatically. You must have some magic, Ronke. Bode is the most eligible bachelor in the village, and you are the one who caught him. I didn't catch him, Ronke replied with a soft laugh. I think we just found each other. Her friend giggled, and they spent the next hour talking about the wedding, the dress, and how beautiful Ronke would look walking down the aisle. She could already picture it, Bode waiting for her with that dazzling smile, taking her hand and promising to be hers forever. The thought made her heart soar. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, Ronke sighed contentedly, already imagining her future as Bode's wife. She would be the envy of the village, but most importantly, she would have Bode's heart. What she didn't know was that Bode had planned 2 weddings in one weekend, thinking he could pull it off without a hitch. With both weddings locked in place, Bode walked through Ayetoro like a king awaiting coronation. The morning air buzzed with excitement. Everywhere he went, people whispered, but not about his plan. No one knew of his royal engagement, not yet, or so he thought. In the heart of Ayetoro's bustling market, Mama Tola, The village most notorious gossip and self-appointed news broadcaster, sat peeling oranges with the precision of a woman who had seen it all. Her sharp eyes missed nothing, and her ears were more fine-tuned than the village talking drums. If anything happened in Ayetoro, Mama Tola knew before anyone else. She leaned over to the woman next to her, her voice a low whisper that carried just far enough for Bode's ears to catch. I heard Bode has been sneaking over to Ajadi. They say he's cutting one of the fruit sellers there. Her companion gasped dramatically, clutching her wrapper. But isn't he marrying Kemi on Saturday, the Bale's daughter? Mama Tola nodded, a sly grin spreading across her face. Ha! The Yoruba demon is playing a dangerous game. Bode, standing nearby with an armful of palm wine, nearly dropped his gourd. His heart skipped a beat, but he wasn't about to let the women see him sweat. With the smoothness that earned him his Yoruba demon reputation, Bode casually strolled over, past the curious stares of the market women, and flashed his signature grin. Aunties, aunties, good afternoon. Bode's voice was like velvet, wrapping itself around their attention. How are the most radiant, the most beautiful queens in all of Ayetoro today? Surely, the sun shines brighter just to bask in your presence. The women giggled like young girls, unable to hide their delight. Mama Tola, trying to maintain her composure, waved him off with a laugh. Ah, Bode, you always know what to say, don't you? Another woman, her eyes twinkling, nudged her friend. Look at him, always flattering us old women. This one's tongue is dipped in honey. Bode gave a dramatic bow, causing a few more women nearby to glance his way, whispering behind their hands. Only speaking the truth, auntie. If I could bottle your beauty and grace, the world would never know darkness again. The laughter spread, a wave of amused chuckles rising around him. Even Mama Tola, known for her sharp tongue, couldn't suppress a smile. Ah, Bode, you think you can charm the whole of Ayetoro, eh? Bode straightened up, his grin as wide as ever. Charm? No, auntie. I simply tell it like it is. Who else would dare to speak of the stars when they shine so brightly here on earth? He winked, his words melting into the air like sweet music. More giggles erupted, and even a few passing women stopped to throw appreciative glances his way. Mama Tola, her eyes sharp as a bird of prey, raised an eyebrow. Bode, my son, we were just talking about you. She didn't bother to hide the mischief in her tone. You always keep me in the center of your conversations. What a blessing. Bode's tone was smooth as honey. Mama Tola wasn't fooled by his charm. She cocked her head, her smile laced with suspicion. Ah, Bode, flattery as usual. But we were talking about something more important than your sweet tongue. These wedding plans of yours, eh? You've kept us all busy with excitement. Bode chuckled lightly, waving off their prying like it was no more than harmless gossip. Ah, yes, wedding plans indeed. It's true. Kemi and I will soon be joined, and I'm sure the whole village is preparing for it. The women nodded knowingly. After all, in Ayetoro, everyone knew about his upcoming wedding to Kemi, the Baale's daughter. There was no use denying that. But Mama Tola wasn't done. She leaned in closer, her voice lowering with a wicked edge. True. We are all looking forward to Kemi's big day. But tell me, Bode, she paused, letting her words hang like a fishing line waiting to snag its catch. What about the wedding to Ronke in Ajadi? Is she also looking forward to her big day? The women around her stilled. The marketplace suddenly quieter, as if the whole world was waiting for his response. Bode's heart lurched, but his face remained perfectly composed. He let out a soft chuckle, his mind racing for an escape. Ronke. Ah, Mama Tola, you know how rumors fly. People love to talk. He flashed another grin, but this time it was tighter, less natural. I've been busy with Kemi, you know that. Mama Tola's sharp eyes glittered with amusement. Busy with Kemi, yes. But Ajadi isn't so far away, is it? Not too far for a Yoruba demon like you to sneak off now and then, eh? The other women began to giggle, some covering their mouths, their eyes twinkling with amusement. One of them, a younger woman with a teasing glint, chimed in. Bode, are you saying it's all gossip? You are not planning to juggle too bright, Abi? Bode could feel his heartbeat quickening, but his training kicked in. Years of sweet-talking women had taught him to wriggle out of tight corners. Aunties, aunties, he said, raising his hand in mock surrender. You flatter me too much. I could never handle more than one woman. Look at Kemi. She's enough fire for me. Too bright. He shook his head, laughing. Impossible. But Mama Tola wasn't convinced. She crossed her arms, her gaze never leaving his face. Impossible, you say? Then why is Ronke already sewing her wedding dress? The market women erupted into soft gasps and murmurs, the tension cracking like a storm about to break. Bode's pulse quickened, but he kept his smile intact, though now it felt more like a mask. Ah, Mama Tola, people love to exaggerate. You know how it is. I've been helping Ronke's father with some work, and maybe that's where the confusion started. Mama Tola raised an eyebrow, her lips curling into a sly smile. We'll see, Bode, we'll see. As Bode walked away, the laughter and whispers of the market women followed him like a shadow, a reminder that no matter how smooth his walls were beginning to close in. Once out of earshot, he let out a breath. Close call, but no one outsmarts Bode, at least not yet. Back at Kemi's home, the air was thick with excitement as wedding preparations buzzed around her. Titi and Sade, Kemi's closest friends, bustled around, laying out the bridal fabrics, the rich ashoke gleaming in the afternoon light. Laughter and chatter filled the room, but Kemi, seated before a mirror, was focused on adjusting the folds of her intricate gele. Titi paused, glancing over at Kemi, her voice dropping to a whisper. Kemi, she said, her eyes wide, as if holding on to a dangerous secret. I heard something strange in the market today. Kemi, still tightening the layers of her gele, raised an eyebrow, but didn't turn away from the mirror. Strange? What strange thing, Titi? Titi bit her lip, glancing briefly at Sade before she spoke. They are saying Bode is planning another wedding. Not just yours. She hesitated, then leaned closer. They say he's marrying some girl from Ajadi on Sunday. Her name is Ronke. Kemi's hands paused mid-adjustment. For a long moment, she said nothing. The only sound in the room were the soft rustling of fabrics as Titi and Sade exchanged nervous glances. The tension was palpable. But instead of the explosion of anger our friends had anticipated, a slow, almost amused smile curled at the corner of Kemi's lips. Her eyes, sharp, gleamed with a dangerous light as she met her own reflection in the mirror. Is that so? Her voice was calm, almost too calm, like the silence before a storm. Sade, who had been holding her breath, blinked in confusion. Kemi, aren't you upset? He's supposed to marry you. Kemi stood up gracefully, her movements deliberate. As she smoothed down her attire, she turned to face her friends, her expression unreadable except for the spark of mischief dancing in her eyes. Upset? Kemi said softly, her smile growing wider, more wicked. No, I'm not upset. She straightened, her chin lifted, eyes narrowing with a dangerous glint. I'm amused. Titi and Sade exchanged another uncertain look. Amused? Titi asked, her voice a whisper. Kemi stepped toward the window, her gaze far away, already plotting. Bode thinks he's clever, she said, her voice low, almost a paw. But he has forgotten one very important thing. No one outsmarts the Baale's daughter. There was a chill in her words, an unspoken warning that hung in the air, making even her friends shiver. It was clear now. Kemi wasn't just a bride preparing for her wedding. She was preparing for war.